Let's get into synthetic division. Synthetic division is a shorthand version of polynomial long division, but we can only use it when we're dividing a polynomial by a linear binomial. Binomial being two terms, and linear meaning that it's x to the first. So we would have x minus a constant or x plus a constant. You can also look at this as x minus some number and x plus some number. The dividend, what you're dividing into the numerator, must have its terms in exponential descending order. So from largest to smallest. And if there are any missing exponents lower than the degree in the dividend, again, what you're dividing into, you're going to include a placeholder of 0. Okay. We also have what's called the remainder theorem. If the polynomial f of x is divided by x minus c, then the remainder is f of c. Or if you're using the number version, x minus a number, then f of a number. So that's saying that if you do the division, whatever number x was equal to here, instead of just plugging it into your function, you can do the division. So let's go through some examples here. We need to divide using synthetic division. Now, another way you may see this written is 2x squared plus x minus 10 all over x minus 2. Okay. So here we have our dividend. And notice it's in descending order. It's degree 2, and if we count down, 2, 1, none. The bottom is a linear binomial, so we're good there. We're ready to set up our synthetic division. Okay. So first we're going to take our denominator, set it equal to 0, and we get x equal to 2. That means that we're going to have 2 in what I like to call our little dugout, or if you don't like dugout, you could say loser corner. So 2 is in the loser corner, and then we're going to write our coefficients in a horizontal line next to our loser corner. So we're going to have 2. Remember, there's an imaginary 1 in front of the x. And we have a negative 10. Give yourself some room, another row, a horizontal line. In synthetic division, your first number always comes down to the floor. Always. It's like the first pancake is never well done. It always sticks or breaks or doesn't brown properly, and you feed it to the dog. You throw it on the floor. The first number always goes to the floor. Pay attention on this next explanation because the work is going to go pretty quick. We're going to take the 2 from our loser corner. 2 times 2 gets us 4. Add vertically, we get 5. 2 times 5 gets us 10. Add vertically, we get 0. All the calculations are done. Now we need to make sense of what's going on here. So notice that when we started, Our dividend had an x squared, an x, and a number. But since we were dividing by x equal to 2, we're taking an x away. Underneath, when we drop down below, instead of x squared, it's going to drop down to an x. If we take away the x, we get a number. And this last part is our remainder. Looking forward, if your remainder is 0, then x equal to 2 is a 0. Here I'm using x equal to 2, but I could say in general, x equal to the number is a 0. So here, x equal to 2, which we got from our division, is a root, a 0 of the function. Okay. Coming back, they're going to want to know the answer because they asked us to divide. They didn't ask us to determine if it was a 0. That's just a happy little accident that happened. They want our answer for our division. The numbers that came next to the loser corner were from our coefficients. The numbers below are our new coefficients. We get 2x. Since the 5 is positive, we're going to put plus 5. As the 0 is the remainder, we're not going to include it, and our answer is 2x plus 5. Let's try another one. Notice our dividend, what we're dividing into, is not in descending order. So let's go ahead and rewrite it. The 4x cubed is going to come first, minus 3x squared plus 3x minus 1. And we're dividing by x plus 1. We look at our dividend, what we're dividing into, and we look at the exponents. We can count down 3, 2, 1, none. So we are in descending order. And we are dividing by a linear binomial. So let's go ahead and take our denominator and figure out what's going to go in the loser corner. We take x plus 1 equal to 0. When we solve, we get x equal to negative 1. Negative 1 in the loser corner. The numbers following the negative 1 are our coefficients. So I have 4, negative 3, positive 3, negative 1. Give yourself some space and a horizontal line. Remember, first one always goes to the dog. The 4 falls to the floor. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. Add vertically, we get negative 7. Negative 1 times negative 7 is 7. Add vertically, we get 10. Negative 1 times 10 is negative 10. Add vertically, we get negative 11. The calculations are done. Let's figure out our answer. We started with an x cubed, an x squared, an x, and then a number by itself, a constant term. After we do the division and we take an x away, because we're dividing by x equal to negative 1, we drop down to an x squared, an x, a number, and then our remainder. If you have a remainder that's not 0, this tells us that x equal to -1 is not a 0 of the dividend. Again, that's looking forward. But I want to get it into your radar now. And we can find our answer. So our answer from the bottom, 4x squared, combining our coefficient and the variables again, minus, because it's negative, 7x, plus 10, no x's on the 10 because he's a number. Then we have our remainder. Personally, I always like to put a plus, and then I keep my sign with my remainder. And that remainder is going to go over our divisor, what we divided by. We're not going to write x equal to -1. We're going to put the factor. So x plus 1. Because remember, whenever we did our division, our long division with our nice whole numbers, like 10 divided by 3 gets us 3 1/3. Here, when we divide by x plus 1, our remainder is -11 all over x plus 1. In our next one, our dividend is in descending order, but when we start counting 4, 3, we skip from the second floor to the first floor on our exponents. We're expecting not to get hurt. We would not drop from the third floor to the first floor of an apartment building without getting hurt. So we need to put in a placeholder. This is going to be -3x to the 4th minus 11x cubed plus 0x squared plus 6x minus 15 all over x plus 3. And now that our dividend, what we're dividing into, is in descending order with all of the exponents visible, we're ready to start our synthetic division process. We take our denominator, set it equal to 0, and we find out x equal to -3 is going to be in the loser corner. Going across are going to be our coefficients from our dividend. So -3, -11, 0, 6, -15. First one always goes to the dog, drop it down to the floor. We get -3. -3 times -3 gets us +9. Add vertically, -11 plus 9 gets us -2. Back to the multiplication. -3 times -2 gets us +6. Add vertically, we get 6, because 0 plus 6. -3 times 6 gets us -18. Add vertically, 6 plus -18 gets us -12. Do the multiplication again. -3 times -12 gets us a +36. Add vertically, -15 plus 36 gets us 21. Let's go ahead and find our answer. So we started with an x to the 4th, an x cubed, x squared, x, and then number. When we drop below the horizontal line, remember we go down by one exponent. So we're going to have x cubed x squared x number, really messed up pound sign there. Let's try that again. Number, and then our last one is a remainder. Notice that we have 21, not 0, so we know that x equal -3 is not a 0, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and find our answer for our division. We're going to join our coefficients and our variables back together. We have -3x cubed minus 2x squared plus 6x, because the 6 was positive, minus 12. He doesn't get an x because he was our number, our constant term, plus, when we put our remainder over our divisor, what we were dividing by, x plus 3. Do not put it over x equal to -3. You need the factor. Two more examples. We're going to use synthetic division and the remainder theorem to find f of 2 given our function f of x. Now, in previous work, when we needed to find f of 2, we would plug in 2 to the 4th minus 5 times 2 cubed plus 5 times 2 squared plus 5 times 2 minus 6. And then we would go to our calculators because nobody wants to do the mental math on that. Well, there's another way we can solve this, and that's using synthetic division and the remainder theorem. So here, f of 2 took the place of x. So they're telling us that x is equal to 2. We don't change the sign. You only have to change the sign if you have the factor, where we had x plus a number, x minus a number. When they give you the number, you can immediately put that number in the loser corner. Then we're going to use our coefficients. Remember, if it's not there, it's a 1. So we would have 1, -5, 5, 5, and -6. And I didn't make you check it, but this is in descending order. And if we count the exponents, count down, 4, 3, 2, 1, nothing. So we're okay. Let's go ahead and do the arithmetic. The 1 comes down because the first one always drops to the floor. 2 times 1 is 2. Add vertically. -5 plus 2 gets us -3. Do the multiplication. 2 times -3 gets us -6. Add vertically. 5 plus -6 gets us -1. 2 times -1 gets us -2. Add vertically. 5 plus -2 gets us 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Add vertically. -6 plus 6 gets us 0. We just found f of 2 is equal to 0. Our remainder is also what you get when you plug in the value into your function. If they were just wanting the number and they didn't need the f of 2 in front of it, you would say that it equals 0. Let's try another one. So it says, oh, sorry, technical difficulties again. Technology and I just don't get along all the time. I think it's because they know I'm worried about the AI uprising. Okay, here we go. This time, they want us to evaluate our polynomial at a value. Write the resulting ordered pair. Again, you could plug this in every time you see an x, but even I think that looks gross. So let's look at our function. It's in descending order. If we count 4, 3, 2, 1, none. So that's okay. And they gave us the x equal to -1/2. Means -1/2 goes in the loser corner. And we're going to take all of those coefficients for our horizontal line, or horizontal row. Then give yourself a horizontal line. And remember, first one always falls to the floor. We get 2. -1/2 times 2 is -1. Add vertically. -5 plus -1 gets us -6. -1/2 times -6 is +3. Don't worry, you don't have to do that this quickly. As long as you can use your calculator, you'll be fine. -1 plus 3 gets us a +2. -1/2 times 2 gets us -1. Add vertically. 3 plus -1 gets me 2. -1/2 times 2 is -1. Add vertically, we get 1. We just found that f of -1/2 is 1. We have our x value of -1/2 and the y value of 1, which means our ordered pair is going to be -1/2, comma 1. And you have to have the parentheses around them to have an ordered pair.